Hello traders, Mark here with the OR Trader. Wanted to do a short video today on a follow-up of the first half of the year's opening range and pivot range, A point and direction. Okay, so if you've followed the other two videos that I did on this, you know that this gray area here is going to be the first 2 weeks of the year, and that's going to form the opening range for the first half of the year. And the purple lines here are the pivot range for that first 2 weeks. And we closed above it, meaning that pivot range should be support. And then we had an A up calculated at 22.9965 and an A down calculated at 22.1685. And if you remember back on my last follow-up video, I talked about how we were approaching the A point and A up, and we needed to spend half the time of our opening range there in order to confirm the A up. Well, we're using 2 weeks as our opening range, so we need to spend half that time, which would be 1 week, which is 5 trading days. Okay, and so if you count this day as one, this would be 2, 3, 4, or 5. This definitely shows you that they confirm the A up, which is very bullish, meaning for the from now till June, the market wants to go higher. Okay, now this situation was a little bit, well, I'd say very bullish, because we never tested the A point. Okay, it just blew right through it. Okay, now there was a little bit of a sideways movement here after the confirmation. Okay, and so if you were to get in here, of course, where does your stop go? Your stop has to go way down here at 22.39. Okay, now like I said, I don't trade this way. Okay, I don't, but I like to look at the how the year is transforming, so that I have an idea of how to day trade. Okay, and so you can see there's a little bit of a sideways movement here, and then another push higher, and of course we had this gap up after Trump's speech to Congress. Okay, so a couple of things I want to point out. If you look back here, this was this rectangle here is the first day, trading day of December, and we use the first day as an opening range for the month. Okay, and you can see that in this case the low of the month was in the opening range of the month. Okay, and December moved up. January, of course we had January, but we used the 2 weeks for January. This box here is February's first trading day, and you can see here that again, although the low came 1 day later, usually what Fisher says is more times than not, the high or the low of the month falls within that first trading day of the month. Okay, and so this is the opening range for February. So now, yesterday was the first trading day of March. So what we've got to do is we've got to create a rectangle here. Okay, we'll go here to here, and I'll just put this on roughly. Okay, the numbers aren't set exactly, but roughly this is the opening range for March. Now another thing I want to point out is this gap up. Okay, is in Japanese candlestick trading. Okay, this would be called a rising window. Okay, and let me remove this drawing here so that I can show you from the high on this day here to the low of yesterday. Okay, you can draw or another rectangle here. Okay, all right, and again, this is not exact, but I just wanted to show you that this is a rising window. Okay, this rising window should be support. Okay, for this gap up. Now, if we come crashing back through and close this window, then of course this support area would fail. Okay, so the reason I'm pointing this out is that this rising window, okay, let me remove this drawing. This rising window should be support. Again, we have our first trading day of the month, so this is going to be our opening range for March. And we're coming into the March contract expiration, and I would expect that the bullishness would subside a little bit, okay? And so what I'm going to be watching is for, do we trade sideways here? Does this rising window offer support? Do we push up and then can't push any higher and roll back over? And the reason I'm saying all this is because we never tested this A point, okay? And so with the contract ending, it would not surprise me to see us flounder a little bit here and possibly roll over and come down here and try to test this A point. Now this A point should be support if you come down and test it. So this would be a great buying opportunity if the market can pull back down towards this level. So that's sort of what I'm looking at here going forward. Still very bullish. You have a confirmed A up for the first half of the year. Means that we should see continued buying all the way through to July. And in July, the first 2 weeks of July, we'll use those first 2 weeks as the opening range for the second half of the year. So very bullish market here. Like I said, we'll see if it can continue. The one fly in the ointment that I see is that we never really tested this A up. We just blew right through it. And I feel like we're due for at least a pullback. You could even use like a Fibonacci. Let me try to do like a Fibonacci retracement here. Okay, you could go from about this low here. Okay, go from here to, why isn't this working? There we go. Okay, to this high. And we could see a pullback into the ambush zone here between the 50% and the 61.8, around 23.32 down to 23.15. So a natural pullback could be to this area, which is not quite to the A up, but you could possibly expect to see a pullback here. Just some ideas, guys. Like I said, I don't claim to know exactly what the market's going to do, but I do know that my indicators here, the opening range of the first half of the year is telling me to be bullish until June. I think we're a little bit overbought, and I think that we are due for a pullback, but that might not happen. You just have to keep watching the market and make your decisions off of what the market's telling you. Like I said, this rising window should be support. This is our opening range for March. Again, is the low from yesterday going to hold for the low of the month? And are we going to put in a new high? These are questions that you have to ask yourself, and I don't know the answer, but I just watch and learn, and I try to use this big picture data to help me in my day trading. All right, guys, that's it. Hope it helps. Talk to you later.